telepathic futures. The other day, my friend called me and said she had a last-minute invite to a psychic seduction seminar. Her old professor from college was teaching it based on the findings of her research. Highly secretive research she'd been doing the past several years based on an equally secretive grant she got from a mysterious institution. The seminar was at the behest of the institution to share her findings. My friend said it was similarly structured to many other seminars. How they have the first day for free and then they try to sell the 3-day seminar as an upsell. But this wasn't to warm people up for the upsell. This was to warm people up to sign up for the beta test. The interesting thing was this beta test was going to be held at a privately owned island in international waters, which meant they didn't have to follow any one country's or even international regulations regarding human psychological testing. She told me that the institution which funded her research is highly secretive, but they have been associated with other groups interested in psychic warfare. Most of the people in the seminar room seemed to be young professionals, a fairly even mix of men and women. She leaned in just before she came out and said this was invitation only. She said first that she'd made some significant breakthroughs in psychic communication, that they were focused on psychic or telepathic seduction, since communication to specifically create romantic attraction in another person is the most complex form of human communication. That once you master telepathic seduction, any other kind of telepathic communication will be relatively easy. That most people aren't aware of the massive amount of telepathic communication that goes on beneath your conscious awareness anyway. That one can slowly bring this latent telepathic communication from the subconscious level up to the conscious level. Then, while at the conscious level, you can enhance your telepathic communication. You can strengthen your telepathic communication. You can fine-tune your telepathic communication. That seducing telepathically can generally lead to growing romantic interests. And when you can consciously manage growing romantic interests, the rest of human communication will be much more powerful. And since you are listening to this now, your mind is already pre-wired to accept ideas like this. Accepting ideas are much more ubiquitous than most people would ever be willing to admit. In fact, depending on your interpretation of the mind-body-language metaphor, it may be true that accepting ideas are everywhere, that ideas may indeed be entities unto themselves. This is far more advanced than most linguists would admit, but it may turn out the relationship between minds and ideas may not be causal like we tend to believe. The ideas that exist today may actually predate human self-awareness, which of course indicates that we may not be nearly as alone as we think we are. That when you lay awake tonight in bed, you might think about this. You might want to contemplate this. You might want to ask yourself this question to yourself within your own self-awareness. You might address the entities disguising themselves as ideas in your mind now, paying attention to you while you are paying attention to these words. And as you fall asleep and your own self-aware mind shuts down, you might simply allow these ideas to grow in your mind, to create the bridge between minds, this telepathic bridge that will allow you to communicate with others, the telepathic bridge that will allow you to seduce others, the telepathic bridge that will allow you to speak to your future self, the telepathic bridge that will allow you to speak to your past self, to receive messages from the future you, the future them, and the future entities that are always out in your future, waiting for you now.